It was filled with repeated statements such as, I will not kick boys in the crotch. I will not lie to my mother. I will not put toothpaste in the door jamb. I will not tell grandma that mom was arrested when she wasn't. And other stupid shit that I did as a child. The notebook filled up so quick that my mother had to buy another one. College ruled this time. Every time a new sentence needed to be added to the collection, my mother would slowly write the sentence on the first line of the page. She didn't trust me to number the lines because I'd accidentally skipped a few numbers once, so she also had to slowly write each and every number. Her handwriting is horrible, just like the douche that wrote about me in the textbooks, which is why she had to write slowly so that I could read it. She did the same thing on Christmas presents from Santa, trying to create a new font to fool me. The handwriting of the nasty shit suggested a boy, sloppy with no loops or curls, but in second grade, you can't expect everyone to write as well as I did. To this day, I am unsure as to who the asshole or bitch was that wrote that stupid phrase in 15 textbooks. Furthermore, I don't know why. Regardless of what I didn't know, I began to try and leave the lying behind me after this boy cries wolf experience. It was hard. I relapsed a lot, but today I can happily say that I tell the truth more than I lie. When I do lie, it's either intentional for the purpose of peace or subconscious. If my brain decided to lie about something that didn't matter, like earplugs, I would let it slide. I lied about earplugs last month at work. My coworkers and I were talking about bugs, more specifically infestations, before the meeting began. I explained how afraid I was to leave my garbage inside my new city apartment at night, and how equally frightened I was about taking it outside before bed, in the dark, where people get raped and killed. Obviously, my fears were exaggerated. However, I began placing my garbage inside my refrigerator. I was hiding my garbage from the cockroaches. After the laughter from everyone subsided, the massage therapist mentioned a video that she had watched on YouTube. This video happened to be one that made faces cringe and skin crawl. It was a video of the greatest fear of mine, a cockroach in the air. Yes, I hate cockroaches. And yes, I hate anything near my ears. This conversation reminded me that I had not yet purchased earplugs to sleep with. I always remembered them when it was too late and I was lying in bed with my eyes wide open. Regardless of my numerous failed attempts to attain earplugs, my brain convinced me that I did in fact purchase them. When I told everyone in the office that I wore earplugs to bed every night, no one blinked an eye. They believed it as much as I did when the words came out of my mouth. Once the subconscious lie was out, I branded it as harmless and did not retract it. Regardless of how harmless it was, I felt out of control. I hate the feeling of being out of control. I'm a bit of a control freak, but I try not to dwell on that stupid lying brain of mine. I have also always been a drama queen, which is yet another reason why my mom had a hard time believing her blonde-haired, blue-eyed liar. This is why she waited until I was 13 to take me to the doctor for the pain in both of my feet. I've had pain in my feet since the day I was born, and it simply got worse as time passed. I was 13 when the pain in my feet increased dramatically because I started playing basketball. It was no longer just me and Mom. I had a new dad and a new baby sister now. When I was 5, my mother asked me what I wanted for Christmas. We lived with my grandmother at the time, and I already had 2 rooms full of toys and goodies. I didn't want toys that year. Instead, I asked for a baby sister. 6 years and 7 months later, I finally got one. The day my sister was born, it was my mother's birthday. The family agrees that it was payback to my mother because now she actually had to celebrate her birthday. I held her in my arms and looked into her eyes, expecting to see a plain old baby. When I saw my sister for the first time, I saw more than just a red-skinned, fragile human that couldn't do more than shit, piss, eat, and cry. I saw the beautiful sister I always wanted. My new dad, Pete, was part of the little sister package, and I'm not upset in the slightest. He encouraged me to call him Pete instead of Dad because he didn't want me to think he was replacing my birth father. Truth is, he did. Pete didn't need to be called Dad, but he sure as hell earned the title. We had fun when I was younger, and while it has matured over time, we still have fun to this day. He always used to place his grip on my thigh, right above my knee, and squeeze. I was so ticklish there when I was younger, and how he knew that was a mystery to me. One evening, before my sister was born, my mother and I went with Pete for a stroll down the Naperville Riverwalk. Mom and I had never gone there before Pete, but once I went, it was my favorite thing in the world. Pete grabbed my thigh, and I laughed just like many times before. Through the laughter that continued as I broke free of his grip and ran away, I screamed with a smile, "You, you, you bastard!" I saw Pete cover his mouth, turn around, and walk away. He was obviously laughing, but my mother was not impressed by the new word I had learned at school. I thought the word was advanced for an 8-year-old like myself, but I didn't know exactly how advanced it actually was. My mother took me over her knee and smacked my ass more times than I could count at that age. We were right in the middle of the Naperville sidewalk, but she didn't care. My laughter turned to tears faster than a rapper from Detroit, singing about his horrible life in the most dangerous city in the world for 4 years running. My mother told me later that she was laughing just as hard as Pete was, and she hoped that I couldn't hear it through her scolding. I always feel that Pete felt the need to earn my love more than he had to with my mother. And this is why I think he would often take my side instead of participate in disciplinary actions. He also hadn't experienced me dramatically lying to him yet. The pain in both my feet got worse as the basketball season went on. I tried to keep to myself, but when Pete kept asking why I would walk around the house with wraps on my feet, I told him the truth. My feet hurt. When I was little, I would cry in my bed whenever my feet hurt. My mom would come upstairs, rub a mystery Chinese oil onto my feet, and give me a mini massage to stop the tears and bring the dreams. I tried to do the same, but no amount of magic Chinese oil or massage would subdue my increased pain. Halfway through the basketball season, practice in pain 5 days a week, Pete came to my rescue. First, he made me laugh. He asked where he should cut to get rid of my pain, moving his thick sausage finger in a line just above my ankle. No feet, no pain, right? Then he looked at my mother and said, in an irritated voice, "Will you just take her to the doctor already?" My mother agreed, but only after looking me in the eye and asking plainly, "Do you really think you need a doctor?" I said yes, but I was afraid that the past liar in me may have influenced my pain tolerance. I was afraid that there was no actual reason for me to be in pain. I was afraid that my mind was lying to me. It lies to everyone else. Why am I exempt? My mother pulled the grayish-blue Caravan into the parking lot of the doctor's office, so it was too late to turn back. If the pain was mental, I needed a doctor to tell me, and if not, I still needed a doctor to tell me. My mother turned to me with a humorous look on her serious face and said, "If nothing is wrong with you, I'm going to punch you." I laughed nervously. However, I knew that she meant business. My mother's side of the family doesn't lie about punching. I couldn't help but remember the time when my Aunt Tammy said the same thing to me, except in reference to gravel roads. I promised her that I knew where my friend lived after asking her for a ride, but since it's no secret that I am directionally challenged, my aunt was skeptical. She told me that she would drive me and to give her 5 minutes. We share a driveway with my aunt, but the hot summer day turned my 30-second walk into what seemed like an hour-long exercise. I don't knock anymore because the dogs run her house, and knocking gets them all riled up before the door is even open. Without knocking, I can at least close the door before they knock me over with their kisses. Even though my aunt openly welcomes a random drop-by, I can never enter her house without calling first. I always have to let her know that I am coming. She has a gun and has pulled it on my uncle before when he came home early from his army assignment. My aunt has two sides, angel and bitch. Aunt Tammy the angel would occasionally give me rides and badass gifts. Aunt Tammy the bitch would tell me to buy shirts big enough to cover my muffin top and would come out frequently if her steady stream of nicotine runs low. Realistically, however, Aunt Tammy is simply a blunt person that cares. Unless it's been a while before her last smoke, then she doesn't care. She always sits in the same spot on the couch, so it's easy to find her. She was putting on a dull, deep red lipstick when I saw her, holding a mini mirror in front of her face, head tilted upward toward the ceiling, with her lips slightly open and her cigarette smoking at her side in the ashtray. This is how I always picture my aunt, the badass bitch, putting on makeup with her lips parted just like the rest of us nice girls. It helps me remember that her bitchy side is only surface deep. "Take me down a gravel road and I'll punch you," she said. To this day, I cannot recall why I didn't believe her in the first place. Sure enough, I took her down a gravel road and she punched me. My family feels that minor abuse such as this is acceptable because we always warn the person and it's never for no good reason.